What's up, everybody? MTG Trader back with another video. Welcome back. All right, first things first, let's talk about the winners of last week's contest. The 20 tokens. Congratulations, Matti Juvonen. The Unstable Plains is going to Tim Bister. The Unstable Island is going to DBD Kirito. The Unstable Swamp is going to Chubby Vegan. The Unstable Mountain is going to Scott Scalise. And the Unstable Forest is going to Daniel Pleites. I've tried to contact everybody who won. Unfortunately, YouTube has removed the ability for me to message you guys. So it's in this video. If you heard your name, you have won one of the cards or the tokens that I mentioned last week I was giving away. So message me on YouTube. In the About section, you'll find my email address. And let me know where I need to send these cards to. I'd like to get them out ASAP to you guys. All right, perfect. Thanks. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the love. Sharing the videos out and hitting those like buttons. All right, without further ado, let's get right into the cards that I've selected this week as my spec targets. The first card is Blood Sun from Rivals of Ixalan. It is an enchantment similar to Blood Moon. It costs the same mana as Blood Moon does, 2 colorless, 1 red. When Blood Sun enters the battlefield, draw a card. All lands lose all abilities except mana abilities. I love this card. I can't tell you how great I think this card is. It's a card that is just going to continue to rise. This card is going to see significant play in Commander EDH as soon as people figure out how powerful this card actually is. This card hoses all the fetch lands. It hoses Strip Mine. It hoses Boseiju, He Who Shelters All. It hoses tons and tons of lands that are staples in EDH Commander. This card is amazing. Not only that, but when you play this card, you're going to get another card in your hand, so you're not losing a card. It's card advantage. All right? It's the same mana cost as Blood Moon, and I think it has an effect that is just as good as a Blood Moon, and or almost as good as Blood Moon. It's not just as good, right? Because Blood Moon makes them all mountains and color hoses a lot of people. But it's pretty darn good. And the fact that it gives you a card when you play it, I think is just throws it over the top. At its price point currently, it's 70 cents. Compare that to Blood Moon, and this thing is a bargain. I expect this thing to continue to climb over time as Rivals of Ixalan is now out of print, and as these cards become harder to find and people figure out how powerful this card is in EDH, especially the fact that it gives you another card, we're going to see this card rise in value. All right, the next card up is Helm of the Host. All right, Helm of the Host is from the Dominaria set. It is a legendary artifact equipment. Basically says at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary if equipped creature is legendary. That token gains haste. The equip cost is 5. It's a little pricey to equip. There's plenty of cards at EDH that are going to lower that cost, reduce that cost for you. But even at 5, this thing is amazing. I've seen it show up in a lot of Atrata builds that people are trying to build the new Commander Atrata. That people are really trying to build a viable deck with her and find ways to not shuffle her back into the library or to create multiple copies of her so that she can hit a player and take them out of the game immediately when she exiles 3 creatures. So Helm of a Host is going to allow you to hit at least twice and give the player 2 counters, a 3rd counter, and they are out of the game. I think people are going to continue to work on those deck lists, not even just the Trata, but many of the generals in EDH Commander can benefit from Helm of the Host, from a copy of themselves that is not legendary, so you're not going to have to sacrifice the copy. And the copy stays after the end of the turn, so it's not one of those effects where create a copy, exile at end of turn. This thing stays around. That means the next turn, if the token survives and if the creature survives, you're going to have another one, and another one, and another one every single time you use this thing. All right. The cost on this is currently $3.05. I can see this thing at least tripling in price over the next 2 to 3 years. So this is definitely a spec target of mine. I am currently acquiring them when I see them in trade binders, and I'm considering purchasing some as well. Next card up is a card that I've talked about before. This card is from M19, Crucible of Worlds. I'm bringing it up again because recently Crucible of Worlds has seen a significant price drop. I checked a TCG player the other day, and I've looking at it right now, the market price on this card is currently $13.31. This thing was a bargain at the $19 or $18 that I talked about it before. Its all-time high is in the 60s, and I cannot believe that this card has dropped about 33% down to the $13 mark. So I think you can probably find it on TCG Player for around $12.75 as well in near mint condition. If you see these in binders, you should be actively trading for these for as many as you can get. M19 is not going to be in print forever. It's going to go out of print, and as soon as it does, and with the influx of new players to Magic over the next several years, we should see Crucible of Worlds scarcity, and the price should continue to rise. This reminds me a lot of Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, and M15 when it came out. That card was around $33 or $34 when it was reprinted, and the card dropped down to the between $4 and $5 mark. I picked up several of those. I picked up as many as I could, actually traded for as many as I could, picked up as many as I could, and that card was a beautiful spec target. It was printed roughly 4 years ago in M15, and it's currently sitting at about $21 to $22. So not bad. A quadrupling of your money in 4 years. So I see Crucible of Worlds very able to do that in about the same amount of time. So awesome spec target. The next card, also in M19, also an all-time high of between $65 and $70, I believe, Scapeshift. This card is a 2 colorless, 2 green sorcery. It says sacrifice any number of lands, search your library for up to that many land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So you really get to sacrifice basic lands, and you'll search for any land that you want in green. I'm looking for Gaia's Cradle. I'm looking at you. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. I'm looking at you. So lots and lots of lands that you can search out with Scapeshift. You ditch your basic lands, and you get some much better lands out of your deck. The current price is sitting at a market price of $7.39. That's a bargain for Scapeshift. I expect Scapeshift again to continue to rise over the next 2, 3, 4 years, and fantastic spec target for me. So I'm also acquiring Scapeshift as well as Crucible Worlds. Every single card that I'm going to talk about today, I'm looking to acquire as many copies as I can of those cards. All right, next up, we're going back a little old school here. Capsize. Capsize has started to see more play in EDH as people learn about the card. I don't think it's a card that many players were aware of. I'm now starting to see it show up in Commander EDH videos that I see on YouTube, and I think with that, players are going to start learning how strong Capsize is, and that Capsize is a wonderful spec target. You should be trading for this card. You should be purchasing this card if you can. There's only really 4 printings of this card, and only 3 of those printings are tournament legal. So if you're going to be playing in a tournament, you do not want to pick up the World Championship version, which is a little bit cheaper. It's a market price of 88 cents. But the Tempest version is currently a market price of $1.48. I think I saw some near mint copies on TCG Player for around $1 or $1.05, somewhere in that price range as well. The next legal tournament version of this card is the FNM Promo at $27.69 market price, and then the Masterpiece series at $38.88. So if somebody's looking for a Capsize, these things are going to become scarcer and scarcer, and the cheapest of those cards is $1.48. That price is going to continue to rise, since a lot of people aren't going to want to spend the $27 or the $38 for a Capsize. Capsize, for those of you that don't know, is 1 colorless, 2 blue. It has an ability on it called Buyback, and back in the old days, what Buyback allows you to do is you can pay an additional 3 colorless mana, Buyback 3. So if it was Buyback 2, it would be 2 colorless mana. This one is Buyback 3. You can pay an additional 3 mana when you play this spell if you do put it into your hand instead of your graveyard as part of that spell's effect. So late game, Capsize becomes more powerful. Early game, it's still powerful. You get to return a target permanent to its owner's hand. That means you can return a Guy's Cradle, you can return a land, you can return any permanent on the battlefield to its owner's hand. It's semi-powerful in the earlier game, but mid to late game, when you've got a lot of mana to spare in EDH Commander, you get to return multiple things to people's hands. And if you've got infinite mana or almost infinite mana, you can pretty much return the entire battlefield to your opponent's hands with this card. All right. The next card on the list is Library of Leng. Library of Leng is an artifact. It costs 1 colorless mana. The effect of the artifact is a pseudo Reliquary Tower, if you will. Library of Leng says you must skip the discard phase of your turn. If a card forces you to discard, you may choose to discard to the top of your library rather than to the graveyard. If a discard is random, you may look at that card before deciding where to discard it. So, extremely powerful effect tacked on to the fact that you skip your discard phase. So, it doesn't matter how many cards you have in your hand, you're just going to skip your discard phase. It's a little bit different than Reliquary Tower, where Reliquary Tower says, you have an unlimited hand size. It's a little easier to get rid of than Reliquary Tower because it's an artifact, but the additional effect of being able to discard to the top of your library rather than to your graveyard is an incredible ability to have, on top of the fact that you skip your discard step. I can't tell you how many times I've not had a Library of Leng in play and somebody Liliana's me and I have to discard the only card in my hand, and it's a card that I really, really did not want to get rid of. Or, somebody wheel and deals. Somebody has those effects in their deck and they're trying to, make you discard a hand that you really don't want to discard. You've got a Library of Leng in play. You get to discard to the top of your library and draw the hand that you didn't want to get rid of as the wheel and deal or Wheel of Fortune. I'm sorry, I said wheel and deal, but I meant Wheel of Fortune effect. As the Wheel of Fortune effect resolves. This card is phenomenal in those situations. There's also spells in EDH that make you discard your hand, and then you get to draw cards equal to the greatest hand size of the game. So of the player in the game. So if somebody has more cards than you and that effect resolves, you can put your cards on top of your library, get your cards back plus some additional cards. So really, really good card. It is currently underpriced at $2.24. It has seen some significant movement recently. I picked up a significant amount of these cards, a decent amount of these cards, for $1.25 a couple weeks ago. I went back about a week later to try to pick some more up, and they were at $1.49 at that point in time, and I picked those up, and now the market price is $2.24. And I think in general, revised cards over time are going to see significant movement just because Alpha, Beta, Unlimited have become cost prohibitive for a lot of people, and people who want those old cards revised gives them the opportunity to get a lot of those older cards at a much cheaper price. And so I think as the other 3 sets move up and continue to move up in price, revised is going to be the next unlimited set, if you will, in terms of pricing and in terms of price growth. All right, so I think the unlimited version of this card is currently sitting at almost $8 and $7.49, and then the beta is $32 and the alpha is $69. So there's a huge price gap and plenty of room for this card to grow over time. All right, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this piece and the cards that I spoke about. I'm going to put them in the list down below. So if you want to just get a look at the cards again, you can just look at my comments for this video down below and get a list of the cards. I'm pretty sure I put the list of cards in all of my videos that I talk about, so you can just go back to those videos if you don't want to rewatch them and just look at the list of the cards that I've talked about. All right, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Please share this video out to anybody that you think would enjoy it, and leave a comment down below. I'm going to be running a contest again this week for this video. So I've talked about 6 cards so far. I'm going to be giving away 3 of those cards randomly. I'm going to roll to figure out which ones I'm going to give away, so you have the opportunity to win a Blood Sun, win a Helm of the Host, win a Crucible of Worlds, a Scapeshift, a Capsize, or a Library of Leng. And so leave a comment down below. I'm going to pick 3 winners for 3 of those cards. The cards will be randomly rolled to see which ones I'm giving away, and I'll randomly pick 3 comments from the comments down below. Thanks again, and we'll see you again in about a week. Peace.